The Backseat Killer by Jordan Castillo, Sacramento, California. I was 22 years old when this happened, a college student on winter break, driving home from Redding to Sacramento. I had visited a friend who was home for the holidays, and it got later than I expected. I left around 11:45 p.m., figuring I'd be back home by 2 at the latest. It was a long, mostly dark drive, with almost no traffic on the highway that night. Just an endless stretch of road lit only by my headlights. I was about an hour into the drive, somewhere between Red Bluff and Willows, when a black pickup truck pulled out onto the highway behind me from a small gravel path. I noticed it only because my rearview mirror flared briefly when its headlights hit. It didn't seem odd at first. People take late-night drives, especially in rural areas. I focused on the road and the music playing softly on my Bluetooth speaker. But then the truck flashed its high beams at me. I thought maybe I had a tail light out or something. I tapped my brakes lightly, signaling a check-in. They flashed again, brighter this time and longer. Just as I began to worry they were trying to get my attention, they did it a third time. A long, blinding burst of high beams that filled my mirrors with white light. I started getting uneasy. The truck was following closer now, maybe 2 car lengths behind. Too close for comfort, especially with no other cars in sight. I changed lanes to the right to let them pass. But they didn't pass. They stayed behind me, keeping perfect pace. I sped up. They sped up. I slowed down. They slowed down. Every time I tried to shake them, they matched my speed, keeping a tight distance. Then they flashed their high beams again. Not once, not twice. This time, 5 times in a row. Rapid, like they were panicking. My hands were shaking on the wheel. I didn't want to pull over on a dark highway in the middle of nowhere. So I kept driving, heart racing, my eyes flicking back and forth between the road and my rearview mirror. I even considered calling 911, but my phone was at 6%, and I knew this area had dead zones. And then something clicked. They weren't trying to scare me. They were trying to warn me. I turned the dome light on and glanced into my rearview mirror, trying to get a better look at myself and the car behind me. And that's when I saw it. A silhouette in my back seat. It was just the briefest glimpse. A shape low, crouched, unmoving. I jerked the wheel and nearly swerved off the road. I turned off the dome light immediately and kept driving. Heart in my throat, pulse pounding in my ears. I didn't want to look again. Couldn't. I was afraid that if I looked too long, whatever was back there might move. The high beams flashed again. This time they stayed on. The truck behind me was bathing my car in light, intentionally. I gritted my teeth, took a shaky breath, and decided to do the only thing I could think of. I sped up and took the next exit, an old country road I barely noticed in the dark. The truck followed, still blasting me with light. I slowed near the first gas station I saw. The moment I reached the lot, I slammed the brakes and jumped out of the car, screaming for help. The truck screeched to a halt behind me. The driver, an older man in his 50s, threw open his door and yelled, "Get out of the sir." I was already out, pointing at my back seat, breathless and shaking. And then we both saw it. A man, dressed in dark clothes, burst out of my back seat and bolted across the lot. He ran into the trees behind the gas station before either of us could react. The truck driver looked at me, pale and shaken. "I saw him climb in when you stopped at that rest area 30 minutes ago. I tried to warn you. I didn't even remember stopping." but I had. Briefly, I gotten out to throw away a soda can. The car had been unlocked. The cops showed up within 10 minutes. We filed a report. They searched the woods, found a bloodied knife near the tree line, and boot prints, but no sign of the man himself. The truck driver gave his statement, and I must have thanked him 100 times before we parted ways. The worst part? They never found the guy. Not even a trace after that night. No DNA match. Just a knife. And an old man who saved my life by flashing his high beams. Now I always check my back seat, even if I just walked away from the car for a second. And I never, ever ignore warning signs on the road, especially when they come from strangers trying to help. You never know who or what is already behind you.